Okay, ladies and gents, this is Pernell, your astro therapist, giving you a short and brief read for the Virgo new moon coming up. These are the two decks that I'll be using, okay, my animal spirit deck and the oracle deck. We know the 27th of August is a Virgo new moon. Now this is happening while a couple other planets will be in Virgo, okay? Obviously a new moon means that the sun is in Virgo as well. I'm gonna spend less time on Virgo and more give you an energetic read between the cards, and I already preemptively pulled them out, all right? So for the Virgo new moon, this is the first card we got. Now what's interesting, I've been getting the otter a lot, and the otter is one of those things asking us to really go ahead and have fun and enjoy that giddish, even kiddish outlook on life, all right? And not to worry too much and get too skeptic, not to get too caught up in the skepticism, the doubt, the worry, all right, everything that Virgo naturally likes to get involved and even trapped into as a form of a cycle. So it is a water energy for starters. So I wanted to kind of make that note. You see the triangle coming down. It's a water energy. This is what we needed to know. How you know you're out of balance with this particular card, I would like to share. And how you know you're in balance, as well as what the balance even looks like. And give me one moment while I give you the specifics on the otter, who's actually hiding right now, which already is energetically telling me something. So it's one of those things that stands for unobstructed joy, playfulness, and contentment. The out of balance is really when you're looking and you're feeling gloomy, you're like, you're sighing, and you're making silly excuses, okay? One of the ways that I found that Virgo likes to escape some of its duties is through the escapism is through complaining. Honestly, it's through a little bit of pettiness, and this is some parts of Virgo energy and its downfall, especially when it feels underappreciated. So when you're in balance, you're feeling full of love and you need nothing. And this is what you need to know for this Virgo new moon, that you need nothing. If you're feeling gloomy as you lead up to it, go ahead and go to a dance party or recognize that there's a celebration. Even go to a celebration, recognize there's a celebration. Virgo energy is energy that works well. I don't want to say wow, not naturally, but it is a sign, the sixth house, to work in the service of others. And so I kind of asked, like, all right, it takes 6 months for a new moon to manifest. And within that, I said, how do we get through this 6 months? And we got the swan. The swan reminds me a lot of Pisces energy. So this is already a thing, right? The way out is through Pisces. Oftentimes it's our shadow sign. So we do have Neptune in Pisces, one of the grand energies in the sky. And Jupiter in Aries is retrograde, right? So Jupiter will go back into Pisces as well. So when I sat there and asked, like, yo, what's the way out? These cards go from this one water, otter, on this Virgo new moon, to another water, the swan, but they go in order of consciousness. So the otter has a younger and I don't want to say necessarily a lower, but definitely a younger consciousness versus the swan. So the swan is one of the things, it's more about effortless creativity, right? It's more about being able to be a sensitive mystic, which is why I get that Piscean energy, and it has an elegant power to it, okay? Virgo, you naturally as an energy already have elegance, all right? You are one of the most elegant signs, quite frankly. You have a polished elegance. You've continuously proved on how you elegantly show up. Rather than like Taurus, who's like, look, this is what I like, this is what I am, and it's just stuck in that nature. Virgo, you're always getting better and better and better. You're getting more and more polished in everything that you do. All right, so this is why a lot of the energy I got in this deck is to not get too caught up. The sensitivity of the swan is heightened. All right, it's pretty much at a God level, quite frankly. If I look at this here for the swan, it says that it's the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry. Now, while it's going on, we're gonna have Mars and Gemini all while this is starting to happen. Mars is leaving Taurus very soon. It'll be in Gemini for about 6 to 7 months. So this creativity energy is going to be high. It's very healing energy and is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When this card appears, your soul is calling for attention as well as solo time. So for the next 6 months, solo time is going to help you to digest and basically understand what are the sighs and the glooms actually trying to indicate and tell you, because they are emotions that need energy, that are energy that needs to be expressed somehow, some way. When you're out of balance with this over the next 6 months, you're going to feel agitated, snippy, and you're going to lack vision. And now this is, again, if Pisces, the opposite, the way out of this Virgo energy, is, like I said, a lot of this card is through the dreams, through the surrender, through the release, through the sacrifice. It's allowing yourself to get lost in the sacrifice of serving others without looking for things in return, without looking for their appreciation and their gratitude, but realizing that the solo time is helping you to appreciate yourself. So this is how you get into balance with the sensitive mystic within you, and also through writing. Now, this is a lot of the Mars and Gemini, a lot of things that you can do with handcrafts. Go ahead and make yourself some handcrafted bracelets and give it away to somebody else without looking for something in return. All right, energetically blessing this with witchcraft through moon water and you know, but not necessarily looking for like a monetary gain, just doing it for the love. And so I asked, what's the challenge that we're facing? And this is once again another feminine energy, but the challenge was the only earth, right? You see here, I have a water, the triangle down, the otter, another water, the swan, all right? You see the two swans, that's that Gemini, that's that Pisces, that's that dualistic energy. But the challenge was the earth. And there was this feminine card. The elk would be the masculine earth. The dare is the mother, and she's very nurturing, okay? But when she's out of balance, she's overly concerned and she's overly protective, all right? But when she's in balance, it's kind of, once again, that full of love. So on this Virgo new moon, like, approach these new goals that you decide to set and manifest with love, okay? With a nurturing touch, all right? With a grounded approach in reality, in a sense. Like, try to do things in this sense that are realistic, but not being someone where you're lacking vision within that realism. And that's what the warning of the swan card was. When you're out of balance, you're lacking vision, okay? And you're being snippy along the way. So be very careful with that. Now, to bring this card into balance, this warning, it's asking you to get involved with nature and children. You hear roosters screaming in the back, that's one thing, animals. But when you're in balance with the deer, all right, you're feeling very receptive, that's key, compassionate, and nurturing, all right? It's one of the things that when this card appears, once again, it says that there's a celebration or the birth of a new life drawing near. A situation that actually calls for absolute gentleness and compassion. So it's like, when you're stepping into new goals, or you're having to get that Virgo-esque grounded approach to the goals of the dreams, the vision coming into earth and reality, it does require you to be able to laugh, all right? And that's why I think this is what we needed to know, which is the otter taking that giddiness. So when I asked for elemental support, whoa, this is the jumper. When I asked for elemental support, this is where it ended up. And it says go east, right? East is one of the cards saying beginnings. And you see again the number 3. So I've been saying Mars and Gemini is here. It's one of the main critical elements. Mars and Gemini action is very chaotic in all sincerity. It doesn't have a lot of organization. So when you are manifesting these new goals, ask for the ability to organize what was once chaos. All right? Take the things that are very chaotic in your life and look at what are these new projects that, or even actually, when I think Virgo, it's not about new projects necessarily. It's learning how to celebrate the old projects that you already have, but bringing them closer to completion. It's the how you bring it to completion that matters. How are you bringing organization to those projects that were once chaotic? That's what I think is bringing us this more grounded, which is why it's also challenging, but it's bringing us this more grounded reality of grounding our dreams, grounding that vision in reality. You already have the vision. That's why there's no fire energy here. But this east is new beginnings. I feel like it's less about new beginnings and projects, and it's actually much more about the new beginnings in your process of thinking, okay? Because this air element is represented by the east, all right? Even in witchcraft, paganism, magic, east is the air element. And it's often looking at these new beginnings in a very cerebral way of processing the information or even the destination of where you're going. So we have to apply what the East is also about, which is like Buddhism, it's Zen, it's Hinduism, and these are very easygoing, relaxed cultures, right? They practice detachment in a sense, or not being attached to things, as our attachment to the outcome of the result is what's causing the suffering, and it's what's causing us not to embrace this giddiness, and it's what's causing us to forget that nurturing a project, nurturing these new goals, the chaos, the organization to the chaos, nurturing it with a motherly touch, aka accepting and embracing this without judgment. The mother doesn't really, in its health, doesn't judge the child, no matter if the child changes its sexual orientation or if the child says, I want to be an astronaut. You know, it doesn't matter. Look and approach it with a motherly touch. And that's how you're going to best approach this Virgo new moon, which takes 6 months. Because mind you, I said over 6 months, what do we need to know? And it's that right now you're very sensitive in your mysticism. The feminine energy is going to ask you as we step into the second half of the zodiac. All right, Virgo is the 6th sign. So from 7 to 12, these last 6 zodiacs, it's really more time alone. It's more time, you know, engaging with your own artistry. So this is really what the new beginning is. Engage with it without having to be so cerebral, all right? But understand that this air element was used in witchcraft to purify and protect a space or this project that you're getting ready to celebrate, this grand abundance that's going to be actually grounded 6 months from now, more like February. That's right after what season? Capricorn and who? Aquarius. The people who get very serious with grounding and bringing in that air element, that evolved air, Aquarius. So that's later in the year, late January, early February. And the final thing that I really said that is important is this last piece of elemental support. And this was saying endurance. All right. It's the card that says rock. Now, what's important about the rock is it says look for groundedness in a chaotic situation. This is Virgo bringing organization to the chaos. 1122 on screen. Be patient, slow, and steady. This is the best way to success. All right, this is how Virgo approaches things. The obstacle sometimes is the way through. So be mindful over the next 6 to 7 months, because Mars and Gemini will be there, and Gemini and Mars will just say, I'm going to go around. And you be mindful. Sometimes the way through is the way to the obstacle is through, right? And that's where I think by December to January, Jupiter will be back in Aries, where we're valuing how to expand by going head on at a project, but to do it wisely, not necessarily impulsively. All right, this is why you got the endurance card. Do not be discouraged by slow progression, as progression is being made. So ultimately, it's like try not to be too snippy with others or even yourself during this process. Recognize that there is a moment where knowledge is power, okay? But don't be so analytical in this process that you forget to have fun, and you forget that feminine energy requires rest as well as some isolation in order for the divinity to come through, for the messages and uploads to work. This is the quick Virgo new moon message that I have for you coming up August 27th. All right, get involved with nature, get involved and touch rocks, whether it's just about you going ahead and getting some crystals that help you feel grounded. All right, go ahead and make sure you do that, whatever that may be. Involve yourself next to some nature, get yourself a plant. This would be a great time. This is Pernell, your astro therapist, helping you to alleviate suffering, what that looks like for you by leveraging astrology as a form of therapy. I'll see you soon. Sending you love.